What is up, Earthnoids and Spacenoids? I am just a simple new type, and in this episode, we are going back in the past of Universal Century. We are going to a time when mobile suits was simply just a concept, as we cover the one-shot Mobile Suit Gundam developers before the 1-year war. Zeonic is as bureaucratic as EFF, and what does most incompetent bureaucracies do when building new weapons? Why, they outsource it, of course. Zeonic's new Zaku design was such a secret that they subcontracted the design to a company called Hosioko. This is a small family-run machine factory who is about to make history. Let's dive into this. Our story begins with Theo Pajitanov. He is a member of Zeonic who has been transferred to Hosioko. He is met at the gate with the company watchdog. The dog begins barking. Theo tries to reach the intercom to reach someone. Mion Hosioko is watching Theo reach into the security gate, all sketchy. The first thing that Theo says to someone is, "I'm not a weirdo or anything. Smooth." Mion says that he will let him through, although Theo notes their security is non-existent. Mion is commanding people to get to work. Theo lets her know that he is from Zeonic and wants to talk to the president. She points at his office and says to tell Dad to come help if you see him. He realizes that Mion is Genzaburo, Hosioka's daughter. She continues working. He goes to the Hosioka offices to find Auntie. No one seems to know where the president is currently. Auntie goes on talking about pumpkins, but all Theo wants to know is where is the president. We all have that one long-winded friend. He goes out to the hangar to meet the old men. These are Hosioka's engineers. He tells Theo to go to the break room. At the break room, another boomer is booming hard. Theo gives up and goes back to Mion. She is about to test a modified version of the Crabman. The ZI-XA-3 Crabman is a Zeon Ministry of Defense weapon designed to test Minovsky particles. Remember, Zeon isn't even a principality at this time yet. It is one of the first bipedal walking robots. It is said to have made Giranzabi laugh when he first saw it. As balance was necessary, this was one of the first AMBAC systems put in a robot. This unit beat MIP's MIP-X1 design for Zeon's bid. Mion tells Theo to get in the robot and help out. In the command room is Yasu Nishikawa and his team. Nishikawa is actually Skyping in from the field. The two worker bots go out and move some cargo crates. Out in the field, Nishikawa sees the president come riding in on his motorcycle. He tells Nishikawa to gather everyone. The team is meeting about the new job they just got from Zeonic, making a new utility unit. He says that a representative from Zeonic should be showing up sometime today. Mion realizes that Theo is still in the hangar doing grunt work. Hosioko apologizes to Theo for leaving him in the hangar to do work. They get the briefing on the design. Theo shows the team CG renderings and concept art on the unit. He refers to this new unit as a mobile suit. This is the MS-04 Zaku. The MS-04 Zaku prototype was a name given in retrospect, as the MS-05 was the first to have the moniker Zaku. This manga is all about this unit, and we learn as we go, but this unit is simply designed to move, jump, run, and climb. Essentially, it is to show that a humanoid bipedal mobile suit is possible. It could hold a machine gun too. One thing we never really get a production timeline of is the creation of the MS-01, 02, and the 03. Although in origin, the YMS-03 WAF and the mobile worker MW-01 Model 1 seems to be where the Crabman evolved from. Everyone oohs and ahs over the design. The old men pass out during his presentation. President Hosioko says if anyone has any questions. Mion notes that the back doesn't have any external connectors. Theo mentions that it is powered by a thermonuclear reactor. The team is worried about the danger of being around radiation. Theo says not to worry because it is reinforced with Minovsky particles and there is only a 1 in a million chance of any danger. Theo realizes that he has said too much. Mion asks what will happen if they refuse. Theo says that he will try to find a new bid, but the project will most likely get scrapped. Everyone seems to be up to taking on the project. Auntie just cares about money, and Mion wants to be able to help build and test this new unit. At the beginning of this manga, we see in the entrance of the Hosioka building, there is a sign that says, "Reject no jobs." There was no way the president was going to refuse this offer. They celebrate with a drink. Mion and Theo talk. She is really excited to test this new unit. The alcohol suddenly hits Theo. He begins burning up and decides to take off his clothes. They start getting to work. They realize that there will be no assembly line products in this build, and they will have to use custom machine parts. But they have to first solve the radiation problem. The president shows the team a TV broadcast of the zombies. No one seems to care about the zombies, but the president is referring to the interference the broadcast is receiving when the Minovsky particle density is too high. We learn a little bit about Minovsky Minovsky particles. Originally used to simplify nuclear fusion by getting rid of the need for big factories, Minovsky particles have the attribute of blocking transmissions of electromagnetic waves, from microwaves to very low frequencies. It is a double-edged sword that renders current wireless communications useless. Finally, a little bit of logic behind the Minovsky particles, which have ultimately been used as a plot device. Nishikawa makes this megaphone that converts sound into ultrasonic waves to allow the employees to communicate with one another. He uses the gun on Mion and almost blows out her eardrums. She uses it back on her father and breaks his hazmat suit. They decide to not use the guns. They give a bunch of suggestions but ultimately go with Auntie's idea. Her idea is to essentially play a game of telephone as one person delivers a message to another until it gets to their respective hands. Of course, they try this method and they don't get a solid answer back. Theo can't believe Zeon's latest tech is being made this way. They are in the midst of building their 2 units. One frame is almost complete and will need to be moved. This is where they ran into another problem. No one has ever piloted a mobile suit. Mion begins training in a simulator. She is forced to wear this bulky spacesuit that makes it very tough to move. She begins the simulation and instantly trips on a car. The simulation ends and there is a ranking of Zeonic members who also tried this simulation. She is ranked 29th, but in 28th place is G. Zabi. Theo wonders if Garma ran the simulation. She keeps running level 1 of the simulation. Auntie comes over and tells Theo that she won't stop until she gets number 1. Theo tells her that his boss and developer of the prototype is ranked number 1. It doesn't take her long, but she eventually gets to first place and is finally ready for level 2. She has been at it for 6 hours and her concentration is starting to decrease. She mentions that it is 42 degrees Celsius. Theo notes that the cooling is not great and will have to improve the system. He suggests ending for the day, but Mion strips down to her underwear and continues the simulation. Theo tries to communicate with Mion and gets no answer. He does an emergency escape and opens the hatch to see Mion using the simulator as a sauna. And thus, the first mobile suit operator was born. Her simulation data would go on to be used at the Mobile Training Battalion in UC-0075. The history books keep out the fact that Mion did all this while being almost naked. Auntie is going to get everyone bentos when she tells Theo that the president is doing a field test with a mobile suit. He freaks out and goes to chase him down. He finds them in the field and yells at them for using a secret mobile suit out in the public. While they are arguing, Mion, in the mobile suit, trips and falls. Mion says that it wasn't her and that the mobile suit froze. She gets up and slowly walks up a 30-degree incline. As she climbs, the motor shuts off. It seems she found a bug in the AMBAC system. An AMBAC system is mainly used in space, but even under the weight of gravity, the AMBAC system plays a role for keeping balance on inclines. Since the mobile suit can't climb, it is now stuck in a ditch. Mion decides that she is going to do a running jump, but Theo says the legs won't be able to handle the load. Of course, she doesn't listen to him. Everyone gets out of her way. She jumps and lands on the edge of the ditch, but the force causes the edge of the ditch to break off and the mobile suit falls back down in the ditch once again. They decide to just use the second unit to pull out the first unit. They learned a lot this day, but this caused many delays. Mion is in a mocap suit to capture human movements so they can apply the data to the mobile suit. The bug they found wasn't a software issue in the AMBAC system, but rather a bug in the authentication where limbs are attached. I've ranted about this in the past, but another reason the real world will never have cool robots. It is already a nightmare finding USB-C and USB-4 compliant devices. Imagine this modern problem applied to attaching limbs to a mobile suit. They did a full breakdown and recalibration of the unit. Mion continues capturing human movements. Auntie is out for the day and laundry has stacked up, so Mion decides to take care of it. She goes off and does all the work. She told Theo she would be right back. As she is out and about, Theo is still monitoring her movements. For some reason, a truck full of cows break free. Why are there cows around a mobile suit factory? Shut up. Mion and Theo decide to use the mobile suit to capture the escaped cows. Mion did dainty, delicate moves in the mocap suit all day, so the mobile suit was able to collect all that data and she was able to delicately pick up the cow without crushing it to death. The farmer thanks Theo. He realizes that he just showed off a highly secretive mobile suit to a civilian, and Auntie finally comes back to work. The units are finally finished and are almost ready for delivery. Zeonic officials seem to be disappointed at Theo. A Zeonic representative comes and tells him that after this project, Hosioko will be let go as a subcontractor. The Zeonic rep pulls out a computer pad and a data file, which it's just a Game Boy Advanced. He uses his magic Game Boy computer to show images of the mobile suit being exposed to the public. Theo notices this is when he helped the damn cow. He yells at Theo about the security and notes that there was only a watchdog. Theo says he isn't even a good watchdog. But worst, apparently the president gave an interview about working with Zeonic on nuclear-powered units. The Zeonic rep says that they plan on transferring Theo to a new location within the next few days. They pack up the new units on a truck. Theo is sad. From behind comes Elliot, the developer of the prototype and former first place of the simulator. He is also sad that Hosioko is let go. It wasn't his decision, and he is impressed that Mion beat his high score on the simulator. Elliot wants Theo to work at Zeonic HQ factory. He is still not looking forward to telling the Hosioko team. That night, they celebrate, but Theo drops the news that they are being let go as subcontractors. After the delivery of mobile suits, Zeonic paid Hosioko, but most of it went to the loans for all the materials and equipment. This caused Hosioko to be shut down and the employees' payments delayed. Things looked bad for Hosioko. At Zeonic HQ, Theo was working on a new mobile suit based on Hosioka's original build, but it is suffering from the authentication and sync issues it had with the Hosioko build. He can't get it completely to spec because they went off spec to make this. Elliot comes and meets with Theo. He says that he can't implement the Hosioko adjustments in time for the delivery date. He tells him he plans to make him factory supervisor and whispers something in his ear. Back at Hosioko, everyone came to work even though the factory is closed. They realize they are all workaholics. They are bickering in the break room when Theo comes in. He needs help with his design. He shows it to the team and they note that his version has 5 fingers. He needs help with the calibration, which they never recorded the data for. The team begins calculating in their heads. They all pull out their computers and input the data on the things they worked on, but they are missing the president's part. He is hesitant at first, but he gives up the data. Theo tells the team that he plans on taking a chunk of the budget and giving it to Hosioko off the books. It seems that this was Elliot's plan and is setting up Theo to be a scapegoat if anything goes wrong. He also plans on creating a competition for the rights to mass production, where Hosioko will compete and win based off their new design. They have 3 months. 3 months later, 4 units have entered the competition. Their unit is the only one to have the Hosioko calibration added. No one knows it is made by Hosioko, and they also don't know Mion is going to be the test pilot. A young Giranzabi watches the event. Mion puts on what will eventually become the Zeon military standard pilot suit. Theo wishes her luck. The first test is for the mobile suits to build a structure with blocks, testing its articulation. One of the blocks contains a glass of water, and it seems they are measuring spillage. However, this is the future and you have sensors that can measure I think we have sensors that can measure things without getting things wet. Cool visual though. She finishes last, but Unit 3 knocks over their glass and is disqualified, so she moves on to the second stage. The next test is carrying a 5-ton weight while going up an incline. They have an advantage on this one. They all head out, but Mion's unit isn't moving. She begins calibrating on the fly. The other 2 units are too far ahead, but Mion's unit begins running. It runs past everyone and finishes first, followed by Unit 1. The final screening is between the 2 in space. This next test is a race through a debris field to an abandoned station. But the military is conducting their own test. Within this test, she is able to dodge the debris with her AMBAC system while still accelerating. It seems like she is about to win, but Theo's boss realizes that one of the contestants is Hosioko. He wants them disqualified. Suddenly, both units are starting to struggle. It seems that the Minovsky density is high. The military interfered and is running their own test now. In the other mobile suit, it just so happens to be Elliot testing his own model. He says that they need to get back, and she essentially won, but Mion doesn't like to win that way. They both race back to the starting point. Mion is able to beat Elliot. Hosioko's mobile suit wins. Zeonic is mad that they will have to show off Hosioko to the public. They now go from hating them to pretending to like them for the media. Theo tells Mion that he was originally supposed to be the pilot, but Elliot was quite interested in meeting her. Hosioko officially becomes the bid winner for Zeon's subcontract. Hosioko Factory became a mass production line for mobile suit parts. Of course, Hosioko and Zeonic constantly butted heads. Elliot Rim will go on to join the military and is tasked with overseeing development of military mobile suits. February of UC-0074. Zeonic shows off the mass-produced version of the mobile suit, the MS-05 Zaku. We have deep dived into this mobile suit a long time ago, but its biggest flaws were that the power cords were stored within the frame and took up a lot of space. This will be solved with the MS-06 Zaku 2 by putting the power lines outside of the unit. Zeonic says this is strictly a utility unit, of course. We're gonna end with a joke? Okay, we're ending with a joke. And that will do it for this episode. We talked about the bidding wars of Zeon in the past, but this actually paints a picture to what it was like during these bids. So I'm glad there is some stories written about it. I also love the nuance here. A team passionately working on engineering feats that have never been done before. Unbeknownst to them, they didn't realize that their engineering feat will cause the death of billions. I love one-shots like this, so if you have any recommendations, leave them in the comments. But that will do it for now, new types. Remember, you could tell an interesting story about the creation of mobile suits, but it won't stop you from drawing hard nipples on women. Peace.